quote-unquote police must dead back. And this is a video where we've blurred as best as possible men with high-powered rifles who are, I don't know, getting themselves in the mood to go and cause mayhem. And the police, the security forces are pursuing a mission. They're under instruction that wherever the gangs are, they must crush them. A national anti-gang strategy that is being pursued by the Joint Anti-Gang Task Force. And it was part of that, in pursuit of the objectives of that task force. That was how Othniel Laban came to meet his untimely end in that shooting incident in 6 Miles at about 10 p.m. on Wednesday at 42 years old. All right, that's my time this evening. Make way now for the news at 7.
It's Friday, January 24, 2025. This is CVM News at noon. I'm Ramon Gordon. Schools in Spanish Town reopened today, January 24, under heavy security after violent unrest erupted following the fatal shooting of alleged gang leader Othniel Thickman. The Education Ministry has urged principals to assess security risks and work with the police and parents to ensure safety. The unrest saw gunfire, roadblocks, and arson as the One Order gang retaliated. Police imposed a curfew, now lifted, and pledged to maintain order. Spanish Town remains under a state of emergency as authorities work to prevent further violence. And the JCF High Command has issued an elevated threat alert for police officers following recent violence in St. Catherine North. Officers are urged to maintain vigilance and take precautions to protect themselves and their families. Criminals in St. Catherine are being encouraged to comply when approached by security forces. And as sections of Spanish Town remain under heavy police presence following protests from angry residents in Talspen. In other sections, it has been business as usual. Our reporter Trisha Gay Kelly is on the ground with more details.
So we drove through Spanish Town just now, and what we've seen is quite the opposite of what we saw yesterday. So there are buses, more taxis, more people in the town today. So it's pretty much business as usual. Business places are open. The JUTC bus park is pretty much back in operation. We also went through the town and we saw vendors. So the market is filled with vendors, and vendors are also on the road. We've seen many people coming off buses, many people going into taxis. So it's quite business as usual in the town. However, coming out of the town and moving into Torspen, we saw little police presence. So it's not as much as yesterday, but we did see some police officers monitoring that space. We moved from there and we went to schools because we would have heard, or we were advised, that the Ministry of Education had said that schools could be reopened today. However, all or most of the schools that we've seen so far, they have been closed. So we went to St. Catherine High, that there was closed. We are currently at St. Jago High, which is also closed. The principal nor the dean none of them are here. So we are trying to get to speak with one of them, hopefully soon, or a principal at another school. But for the most part, most schools are closed for now. They are doing online school today and they will resume face-to-face on Monday. And that's pretty much what's happening in the space, but we'll get you more updates in News at 7.
Thank you, Trish. Now, a 75-year-old male patient at the Kingston Public Hospital, KPH, tragically died Thursday after falling from the 3rd floor of the facility. The hospital says staff immediately responded, rushing to the patient and bringing him to the Accident and Emergency Department. But despite efforts, they say he could not be saved. KPH has informed the patient's family and is providing counseling support. However, the police are conducting an independent probe into the incident. Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to a historic low of 3.5% as of October 2024, with men making up 53.7% of the labor force, according to the latest data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. The labor force grew to almost 1.5 million, with a participation rate of 68.1%. The services and sales sector saw notable growth, employing over 200,000 women and almost 120,000 men. Wholesale and retail trade remains the largest employer, with women comprising 54.5% of the sector. Youth unemployment, however, remains a challenge, but skills training are reportedly showing results. A St. Thomas Learning Institution is urgently appealing for help, not just to save a building, but to safeguard a legacy of life-changing opportunities for students in the community. Adrian Williams reports on the challenges facing the Paul Bogle Vocational Training Institution.
As St. Thomas's development expands, one institution is seeking assistance to continue what it regards as a gem of opportunities for the youth of the parish. The issue? A receding shoreline encroaching on the school's property. Chairman for the Paul Bogle Vocational Training Institute, VTI, Marcel Clark, shares that several agencies have been contacted and have visited to assess the property in peril. However, based on the inspection, the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, has given some advice which will make the venture even more costly.
NEPA is now saying that we have to apply for a beach license to do any kind of erosion control. We were thinking of using tires. We were advised that we can't use tires because it has an environmental impact. So they're saying we should get a consultant and an engineer to advise us that has expertise in this area. That's going to come at that time.
Board member at the institution, Craig Fs, is also fearful given the recent uptick in earthquakes across the island, as this section sits near to the active Enriquillo Plantain Garden fault zone.
This is a real safety hazard, not just storm surge or hurricane, but even earthquakes. Because the earthquake, we don't happen to the earth moving. Within no time, all of this will be gone, including the building.
But it's not just the shoreline in need of attention.
Particularly the roof needs a little bit of work, because as I've noticed that sometimes whenever it rains, there's leakage at certain points, and that tends to disrupt the class. And also the infrastructure itself tends to cause concern for safety. So when you're at school and teaching, whatever environmental conditions are existing, we normally find that students get agitated because of the concerns for safety.
With this vast 3-acre land on the shoreline, is relocation being viewed through the lens of solutions?
The location is very, very conducive for learning, because if you look, we are away from the main road, so when there's traffic passing, the noise won't encroach on the learning or the learning impact of the students that are here. So we're not thinking of moving.
As it's centrally located, so it's much easier for transportation coming from east, west, north, or south. They all verge into Morant Bay, so students can traverse quite easily.
Students and staff at the institution, named after national hero Paul Bogle, who hailed from the parish, await the help needed to preserve the property which serves vulnerable youth. Adrian Williams reporting for CVM News.
Local businesses in Westmoreland are driving growth, creating jobs and supporting schools, building a brighter and safer future for the community. Shante McNeil reports.
The parish of Westmoreland is on a steady path of growth and development. Just last year, the Airports Authority of Jamaica announced plans to construct a new international airport in the parish, a game changer for Western Jamaica. Now, the tourism sector is buzzing with job opportunities following the launch of the Red Stripe experience at Rick's Cafe in Negril, adding another gem to the parish's crown. Beyond tourism, businesses are stepping up to transform the community. CEO of Icon Importers and Distributors Moses Chaibar explained that their mega store on Paradise Road has provided employment for 100 workers, providing not just jobs but also contributing to the social fabric of the space through investment in local schools.
Last year, to our 25th anniversary, one of the things that we did, we launched a program which we call a container gardening program in partnership with 4-H And that this was for the primary schools where we got the youngsters involved in farming. We provided them with the containers, the soil, the fertilizers, seedlings, etc. And we would have been monitoring them every step of the way, so the children get a chance to understand what it is to plant something, nurture it, and watch it grow.
This, he explains, will go a far way in ensuring they learn valuable life lessons from a tender age, which will not only prove beneficial to their own development, but to the parish at large. Business Director Moses Chibor Jr. underscored the exponential impacts of corporate responsibility, noting how job creation helps steer youth away from antisocial behaviors.
The fact that we have been able to employ so many persons, and with the continued growth and expansion of the company, we expect the number to grow from over 100 to maybe several hundred persons in the coming years. And I think the fact that we're able to offer more employment opportunities to the person, especially young persons, I believe it will help to allow them to put their energy into something more productive rather than turning to criminal activities.
Westmoreland's journey toward growth, however, faces challenges. Commanding Officer Superintendent Othniel Dobson disclosed in the parish's municipal meeting recently that 100 murders were recorded last year, a figure he says the division is determined to reduce in 2025. Shante McNeil, CVM News.
Stay with us, our discussion segment is next.
Get tiles and get creative with your floors, walls, and all the spaces in between. Our knowledgeable sales consultants are happy to help create your beautiful finish with the latest designs in first quality porcelain, wood look, vinyl, mosaics, natural stones, and countertops. At Creative, you will get every tile you need for your residential or commercial projects. Creative Building Finishes, your one-stop shop for everything tiles. Visit our showroom at 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get creative.
Recycling Partners of Jamaica. Yeah, we got to make a change, and we have to do it now, can't wait for later. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies and in the drains. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place, yeah, the place of it clean. PET, that up polyethylene, HDPE, buckle up against screen. Baby to granny, everybody roping. Yeah, we got to go green, you know what I mean. See the sign from the bin, if we drop it in through car window, you fling, that another thing. And we don't want no garbage in this game. No, we handle it up, bug them are not the same. So listen up, Jamaica, I'm saying it's time to make a change. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies in the every rains. Recycling Partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place.
Welcome back. It's time for our discussion segment. With the recent unrest in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, following the death of a gang leader, concerns about its ripple effects on Jamaica's economy are growing. Joining us now is economist Dr. Chris Stokes to discuss how crime and violence impact economic stability for the country. Dr. Stokes, again, welcome to you.
Thank you very much for having me.
How might the rising conflict in St. Catherine, let's start there, between the residents and law enforcement impact the local economy?
Right. So there are two ways to think about this. The first is the microeconomy, the economy in the area, in the specific area. Obviously, you know, yesterday people were leaving work to go home early. That affects productivity. Folks were closing down their shops and their businesses. People were afraid to go on the street. So at that specific point, you know, you can think back to the pandemic, and just nothing was going on. Everything was closed down, and so people are earning less in terms of being at work, people are earning less, and people are selling less. You know, so that has an immediate impact on the community and the economy in a localized impact. There's, of course, to me, a bigger impact internationally, but let me just address the localized impact first.
Sure. To add even greater context, let me ask you this. To what extent, it's a single day of unrest, yes? But I wanted to explain for our viewers just how much we can lose from just one day of instability in a community. Especially, let's talk about the micro level, and we can look at the macro level right after.
Okay, first of all, at the micro level, you will have folks asking themselves, do I want to have my business here? Do I live here and have my business somewhere else? Or do I just move out of the community? All of these things have material impact. The decisions that are made individually can have a material impact on the collective. And we have seen those ghost towns. We have seen towns where violence is high, both in Jamaica and internationally, and businesses just move out. It's just too risky, or the probability of having to close down or my employees being at risk is just so high that you just leave the community, and this is not unusual. You'll allow me though to touch on the bigger issue, which is a potential investor in Beijing, in Lausanne, in London, in New York, in Dallas, saying, "Oh, violence in Jamaica, murders in Jamaica, that fits the story, that's on brand." And that will just add to the resistance that we see internationally for foreign direct investment, which is an important part of Jamaica's growth strategy. So it's not that the shop just closed down for today. It ripples from the micro level in terms of decisions that people make going forward, and the decisions that are being made with the holders of capital in international markets right now. So it's not a small matter.
Dr. Stokes, to what extent do you believe Jamaica's reputation has been harmed as a business destination because of our, violence brand?
And again, just based on the messages that I've gotten, people are, I live in Kingston, and people say, be careful how you're going out on the road. And how do you explain that to a businessman in Dallas? He has in his head that Jamaica is a violent place, and it is unsafe. That affects tourism, by the way, clearly. People wishing to visit. We don't want another, change in our status with the U.S. State Department. And it affects, more importantly, over the longer run, the investment decisions. And we need to be very, very, very careful about that, because it is real. Now, it is not that we had a squeaky clean reputation and this has happened. This is confirming what is already entrenched in people's minds, and which we as a country are working very hard to reverse.
Dr. Stokes.
Help us to reverse when we are confirming.
Certainly. Now, Jamaica's unemployment rate has hit a record low of 3.5%, and there were notable gains in male employment and key sectors like service and retail. However, there are some challenges with youth employment, correct? Now, the services and sales sector continue to dominate employment categories. What does this indicate about the structure of Jamaica's economy currently?
It's a services economy, no doubt about it. Tourism, entertainment are huge drivers. There are those that are colleagues in the manufacturing space that would like to see much more there. But the economies that were first mainly industrial manufacturing have shifted to service economies. We seem to be going there without really a firm manufacturing base, and it's not manufacturing to say we make the thing for the sake of making the thing, but it's an opportunity for many reasons for us to produce things in Jamaica that we can export internationally and earn foreign exchange and help to increase build our GDP and increase our productivity.
Dr. Stokes.
This is important. Go ahead, please.
In your expert opinion, what should we be producing for export?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
In your expert opinion, what should we be producing for export?
And again, I'm not a big person on industrial policy, but I think that there are opportunities now, especially things that are going on in the sort of the rebalancing of international trade. There are any number of things that are consumed internationally that we could be making here. From assembling computers, taking advance of our transshipment location. I am reluctant to say we should be making shoes to export. I'd rather create an environment where an entrepreneur can see that opportunity and to take advantage of it. I think it would be high-minded and a bit of hubris to say, oh, why aren't we doing, more, for example, cocoa chips, for example, and there are always issues with these things. What we want is an environment and a mindset, an environment that allows cost-effective manufacturing and development, and a mindset that says we need to do this and export and grow the economy.
Certainly. How much of the unemployment decline can be attributed, you'd say, to the post-pandemic recovery, particularly for sectors like tourism and retail?
Well, we're at all, the 3.5% is a record low. So, it's been on a trend coming down. People are celebrating. My view is that 3.5 is better than 10.5 or 15.5 or 20.5, which is, so